Hi everybody. Well, as you can tell, I'm so happy to be bringing you the review of Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Whoop-dee-doo. Now look, you guys. Say what you want about motion picture. Say what you want about Search for Spock. Say what you want about Generations. Say what you want about Insurrection. And say what you want about Star Trek open bracket 2009 close bracket. Say what you want about all the other. Say what you want about those films. But this is the worst Star Trek movie, period. This movie just flat out sucks. Seriously. This movie is just so god awful. Seriously, to me, this movie is just on par with Alien Resurrection. This is a Star Trek movie that should not have been made at all. Period. I mean, seriously, they could have at least come up with a better story. They could have found someone better to direct it. And just, this movie just pisses me off. The more times I see this movie, the more times I hate it. Just like with Alien Resurrection. The more times I see that movie, the more times I realize how much it sucks, how much I hate it, and how much the series overall would have been a lot better if this movie had not been made. Ever. But seriously, at least the other odd number films had something going for them. You know, I mean, yeah, some people might compare motion picture to 2001: A Space Odyssey, but at least TMP had a different storyline to it. I mean, it was about the Enterprise crew finding this entity that was ultimately going home, looking for its creator to basically turn in its gigantic term paper about everything it had learned so it can graduate to becoming a higher being or something like that. Okay? That's fine. Search for Spock. You know, it has some really heavy moments to it. Kirk losing his son. The destruction of the Enterprise. Stuff like that. Okay? That's what made it good. Generations. Yeah, I know, I had a lot of confusing moments to it, but of course it showed us why Kirk regretted going back into Starfleet, because it ultimately losing the woman that he loved. Okay? Insurrection. Yeah, I know some people think that should have been an episode of the show rather than a movie, but, well, at least some things were accomplished in that movie. Plus, on the other side, if you think about it, well then, maybe the Baku realized that, technology isn't really all that bad, and if they did a direct follow-up to this movie, then it might have shown what would have happened if the Baku ultimately did start using advanced technology. That would have been awesome. Okay? The Star Trek film that came out in 2009, it was a reboot showing the characters from the original series in a parallel universe, and showed them that they were in a completely different universe than an established canon. And so basically the characters were ultimately given, and now the characters are given free rein to go on whatever kind of adventure they want to. This movie, however, has so many things against it. It's just plain awful. Okay? And yeah, I know you can't blame the director for how bad a movie is, or the studio for how bad the movie is, but come on. Come on. It's like, I just really blame William Shatner for this movie's failure. I mean, seriously. I mean, yeah, I know, he wanted to do a story about the crew finding God, and the studio wanted Star Trek V to have some comedy in it because it works so well on the voyage home. But come on. A movie about Searching for God mixed with comedy does not work at all. I mean, seriously. If they had stuck with the whole Searching for God thing and might have had just a little bit of comedy in it, not too extreme like it, but not so much like there was in the last film, that would have been fine. It would have been perfect. But no. To me, this movie has more comedy in it and less of looking for God. That's all. But seriously, if someone better had directed this film, that would have been fine. I mean, seriously, why not another member of the cast? Or Harve Bennett or someone? Just someone who has some knowledge of Star Trek or some of the other films. And if that happened, this movie would have been fine. It would have been awesome. It would have been brilliant. But no. Instead, we get a stupid movie with a stupid premise, stupid comedy. It just flat out sucks. Period. And before I get to the actual plot of the movie, I do want to address something that I did watch, that I found out in the SF Debris review of this movie. That is, they wanted Sean Connery to play Sybok. Sean Connery playing a Vulcan in Star Trek. Now, to me, that would have been just surprising as the fact that, they had John Larroquette playing a Klingon in Star Trek 3. Let alone Christopher Lloyd playing a Klingon in Star Trek 3, but still. But again, they wanted Sean Connery to play Sybok in this movie. Wow. I mean, really. The guy who played James Bond in I don't know how many movies, playing Sybok in this film. But of course he couldn't do that because he was busy playing the dad of another film icon, Indiana Jones, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yep. So apparently, playing Indiana Jones's father is less important than playing the half brother of another icon. And of course, we already know who icon I'm talking about. So there we go. So anywho, let's get to the nonsensical, stupid, and idiotic plot of Star Trek V, the movie that just flat out sucks. So anywho, basic plot. Sybok is looking for God and he wants to steal a starship, so he kidnaps a Klingon, Federation, and a Romulan representative on Nimbus 3, the planet of galactic peace. And of course gets the attention of Starfleet and a Klingon named Claw. And they both go to Nimbus 3, but of course, the Enterprise is a disaster. Barely anything works. Wow, big surprise. And of course, they send Kirk and the Enterprise there anyway. Whoop-de-doo. And of course, all crazy shit happens. The horror fan dance scene happens. There's a triple-breasted cat woman that Kirk defeats by throwing her in a pool table full of water. Wow. And of course, Kirk gets captured. It's revealed that Sybok is Spock's half-brother. Blah, blah, blah. They go to planet Shakari. They find God. Turns out he's evil. Gets defeated. And blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. And of course, there's a couple camping trips. Kirk and Bones sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's all that happens in this movie. There's just nothing else I can say about this movie but the fact that it just sucks. Period. So, with my review of the film out of the way, let's look at the fun film factoids of this movie. Okay. First one. The name Sean Connery is a play on words from the original actor asked to play part cyborg Sean Connery. Wow. The surface of Nimbus 3, as viewed during reconnaissance by Captain Kirk, was generated from an electron microscope image of a lobster's claw. Ooh, okay then. One of William Shatner's daughters, Melanie Shatner, appears as the woman that holds Kirk's malfunctioning captain's log. She also hands him his jacket when he first boards the bridge of the Enterprise. Wow. The film's special effects were not done by ILM because the members of ILM, which stands for Industrial Light and Magic, were already working on Ghostbusters 2 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This hindered the film's ending greatly because the ending was to be much longer, with Kirk simply being chased by God. However, the sequence had to be cut out as a result of awful-looking special effects. These scenes were replaced by more shots of George Murdoch's face, except his eyes glowed. And last one, Enterprise D corridor sets from Star Trek The Next Generation were used as Enterprise A corridors in this film. Very few cosmetic alterations were made so as not to interfere with the filming of the TV series, which was underway at the same time. Of course, that's because Star Trek V came out in 1989, which is about the same time that Season 1 of Next Generation had ended and Season 2 was just starting up, blah, blah, blah. So, that's my review of Star Trek V, the movie that sucks. But of course, I'll be back a little later on to talk about a good Star Trek movie, which is Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Now, my review of that film is gonna be totally rant-free. So until then, live long and prosper. Peace out. Bye. And thank God I am no longer going to be talking about Star Trek V ever again. Anywho, I'll see you guys next time.